What does it truly mean to be wealthy in a world where social media shows millionaires before breakfast, luxury lifestyles on repeat, and financial success measured in screenshots of bank balances? And why do so many people still misunderstand the real difference between income and net worth, even when the information is everywhere? Because at the core of financial reality, there is a simple truth that is often ignored.
Subscribe Luxon for luxury travel guides and dream destinations.
Income is what you earn, but net worth is what you keep, build, and control over time. And when you understand this deeply, it completely changes how you see money, success, and even life choices. Because income is essentially a flow, like water pouring into a bucket, while net worth is the actual level of water stored inside that bucket after leaks, spills, and careful storage decisions. And most people focus entirely on increasing the flow without ever fixing the leaks, which is why even high earners often struggle financially, while others with moderate income quietly build massive wealth in the background. Income comes in many forms, such as salaries, freelance payments, business profits, dividends, rental earnings, or side hustles. But regardless of source, it shares one major characteristic. It is temporary unless converted into something lasting. And that something lasting is what we call assets, which are the foundation of net worth, including investments, property, business equity, savings, and any resource that has value and can grow or generate more money. While on the other side of the equation are liabilities, which include debts, loans, credit obligations, and financial responsibilities that reduce your overall value. And when you subtract liabilities from assets, what remains is your net worth, which is essentially your financial identity in numerical form, a snapshot of your real economic power at any given moment. And this is where the biggest misconception begins, because society often celebrates income as if it is wealth itself, when in reality, income is only the raw material from which wealth can be built or destroyed depending on behavior. Imagine two individuals earning the same monthly salary. One of them immediately upgrades their lifestyle, rents a more expensive apartment, buys a new car on loan, subscribes to multiple luxury services, and increases spending every time income rises, while the other person maintains a stable lifestyle, avoids unnecessary debt, invests a significant portion of their income into assets like index funds, real estate, or a small business, and gradually builds financial systems that generate returns over time. And after 5 or 10 years, the difference between these two individuals is not visible in their job titles or income levels, but in their net worth, where one is still financially dependent on active income and the other has quietly built freedom through accumulated assets. This illustrates a critical principle of wealth building, which is that income determines your speed, but net worth determines your destination, because income alone cannot guarantee wealth if it is not managed correctly, while net worth grows through consistency, discipline, and time, often powered by the invisible force of compounding, where invested money generates returns that are reinvested to generate even more returns, creating a snowball effect that becomes more powerful the longer it is left uninterrupted. Another important aspect to understand is that income is often tied to time, especially in traditional employment, meaning you exchange hours of your life for money, which inherently limits scalability because there are only so many hours in a day. But net worth, once built, is not limited by your time in the same way, because assets can generate income independently of your daily effort, whether through rent from property, dividends from stocks, or profits from businesses that operate without your constant involvement. And this is the shift where financial independence begins, not when income increases, but when your assets generate enough passive or semi-passive income to cover your expenses. However, even this concept is often misunderstood because people assume that having a high net worth automatically means financial comfort, but liquidity also matters because net worth can sometimes be locked in illiquid assets like property or business equity that cannot be easily converted into cash for daily needs, which is why financial stability requires a balance between income, net worth, and liquidity, ensuring that you have both long-term wealth and short-term flexibility. Taxation and inflation further complicate this relationship because they quietly reduce the real value of income and savings over time, meaning that simply saving money without investing it properly can actually lead to a loss of purchasing power, which is why financially intelligent individuals focus not just on earning more, but on preserving and growing value through inflation-resistant assets. Another major factor is behavior, because money management is less about mathematics and more about psychology, and one of the most destructive patterns is lifestyle inflation, where every increase in income leads to a proportional increase in spending, creating a cycle where financial progress is neutralized by consumption and people remain stuck despite earning more, while financially disciplined individuals deliberately resist this pattern, maintaining or only slightly increasing their expenses while directing the majority of additional income into investments, which accelerates net worth growth exponentially over time. Debt also plays a dual role in this system, because while bad debt, such as high-interest consumer loans, can destroy net worth and entrap individuals in financial stress, good debt used strategically for assets like real estate or business expansion can actually accelerate wealth building when managed responsibly, highlighting the importance of financial literacy in distinguishing between liabilities that consume wealth and leverage that builds it. When we zoom out and look at wealth from a broader perspective, we realize that net worth is not just a number, but a measure of financial resilience, because it determines how long you can survive without active income, how much risk you can take in life decisions, and how much control you have over your time. And time, ultimately, is the most valuable resource of all, which means true wealth is not about luxury or consumption, but about freedom, the freedom to choose how you spend your days without financial pressure dictating your decisions. This is why two people with identical incomes can live completely different financial realities, because one may be trapped in a cycle of expenses and obligations, while the other is steadily building assets that provide long-term independence. And over decades, this difference becomes generational, affecting not just individuals but entire families, as net worth can be passed down, invested, and grown across generations, while income resets every month and disappears when you stop working. Therefore, understanding the relationship between income and net worth is not just a financial lesson, but a life strategy, because once you realize that income is temporary and net worth is cumulative, your priorities begin to shift from spending to building, from consumption to investment, and from short-term satisfaction to long-term stability. And this shift is what separates financial struggle from financial freedom, not necessarily how much money you start with, but how consistently you convert income into assets over time. Ultimately, wealth is defined not by how much you earn in a year, but how long you can sustain your lifestyle without working, how much control you have over your financial future, and how effectively your money continues to grow even when you're not actively earning. And when income is used wisely as a tool to build net worth, instead of simply funding lifestyle upgrades, it becomes the foundation of true financial independence, where money stops being something you chase and starts becoming something that works for you. And that is the real difference between being rich in appearance and being wealthy in reality.